Do you want to invest in UK property investment? You can make that happen now! If you didn't know, there's a lot of different property investment strategies in the UK, from rent-to-rents, lease options, buy-to-lets, buy, refurbish, refinance, HMOs, service accommodation, commercial conversion, industrial, and so much more. Now, I'm not going to be deep diving on all of them, but I do want to break down what I think from an investment point of view, buy-to-lets are the only investment you should be looking at. So first of all, it's all about that passive income. How much effort do you want to be putting into the investment opportunity in the first place? Well, with a buy-to-let property, a lot of the effort is up front. You have to search for it, understand the area, analyse the property, negotiate the deal, get it through legals, get the finance in place, do the refurb if it needs one, and of course hand it to a compliant and competent lettings manager. Now you think that's a lot of processes, which it is, but then when you get involved in lease options, rent-to-rents, commercial conversions, it's so much more. So if we keep that basic to maybe a purchase to service accommodation, it's then the complexities that are involved in the management process that add a lot more. So it takes away from that passive income route. Now, is the income from a basic buy-to-let property going to blow your mind? No, it's not. More than likely, it's going to wash its face, make a couple of £100 a month, and most of the wealth in property anyway is made from capital growth, which I'll link back to in a moment. The next thing I like looking at is simplicity. So the thing that I really like about buy-to-let is the set it and forget it nature. You end up buying in a certain type of area, you know what it's going to attract. For example, a 3-bedroom property in the Vine Street areas on the Monopoly board, you're going to likely get a young family. And when this is getting in, they're going to make your house their home. And that's a really positive thing that you want for a long-term tenant. Whereas on a rent-to-rent property, there's more complexities. If you don't know what a rent-to-rent is, you are renting typically a house as a whole, let's say a 4 or 5 bed house, and then you rent out the rooms independently, again, or ideally on ASTs or long-form tenancies that are there. Now the issue with that is, if you've got a 45-year-old male plumber with a 28-year-old female solicitor, with a 25-year-old mature student, and whatever else is going on in the house, what's the likeliness of finding 5 individuals that get on really well, that treat the house respectfully, that want to stay there in the long term? Well, it's not. In fact, average occupancy rates over the long term, I'm talking 5-year plus, is 80%. And actually, most of your profit on a rent-to-rent is in that last room. But forget the profitability for a second, because the potential profit is higher. It's the complexity of dealing with multiple individuals, let alone service accommodation. The easiest market is probably the contractor market that's going to stay there Monday to Thursday night, for example. But the issues then is, how are they looking after the property? Are they cleaning up after themselves, etc.? And then you've got turnaround costs. Then maybe you've got your weekend guests. If it's a bigger property, you've got the risk of parties. You've also got the risk of unsavory individuals. Let's maybe not say the word I'm thinking on the YouTube channel, but a lot of different people. Now, it can be great, it can make a lot of money, but there's a lot of complexities, a lot of moving parts. And for me, when it comes to my investment, I like keeping it as clean and simple as possible. Next is void periods. So again, a big part of making money in property is the regularity of making money. When there's a void period, it increases the chance of risk of burglary and of course loss of funds. With a buy-to-let property, it's got the highest occupancy rate of every strategy in investment, maybe apart from commercial property. But of course the downside of commercial, let's say offices, is, for example, the office in one of my blocks has been empty for about 2 years. Not one I own, I have rent in my office space, right? But of course, now that we rent, we'll be here for a minimum of 5 years. So it can work both ways. But in terms of like normal property, occupancy rates are highest in buy-to-let. Now, why does that cause issues? Well, when a property is empty, it has increased risk. You know, especially over winter periods with heating, getting broken in, getting burgled, all of this sort of thing. But of course, there's loss of earnings as well. And that always creates a bit of a problem for me personally. I like to know the regularity of income. I think that's especially important if you're one of those people that's maybe looking to make some sort of income, passive income for financial freedom purposes. If your income is making £500 profit one month, then none the next, and then £1,000, it's really hard to base your life and regularity on that in the first place. The final thing I think that's worth thinking about is it's easy and simple to analyse the areas, and you don't need to be near it to understand it. So for example, I live in Leeds, but if I want to build a portfolio in Nottingham, it's really quite simple to assess and analyse the area. Maybe I need to go down once a month, but I can get viewings done for me, I can get the refurb done for me, all hands-free because I know how to do it. Whereas would I take on a serviced accommodation unit in Nottingham knowing that I'm in Leeds? Almost definitely not. I think management companies at HMO level and service accommodation level is not that they're all rubbish, by the way, there's some amazing ones, but it's a lot harder to find it. And so really that kind of rounds off my point. It depends. So service accommodation, which by the way is Airbnb type properties, rent to rent where you're renting a property and renting out the individual rooms, HMO where you're buying a property and renting out the individual rooms, all of them are great strategies, but I wouldn't say they're investments. And I think this is the key. They are like businesses. Owning like 10 service accommodation is like owning a business. I own this business, Aspire Property Group, where we do end-to-end portfolio building for people just like you. That's like me saying, hey, I'm going to put 100 grand into this business. That is a business. It's not a passive income stream. Now, maybe one day I've got the culture perfect. I've got recruitment perfect. I've got the systems perfect. I've got management perfect. Everyone well trained so that I can operate from a monthly report. But I ain't there yet, and I've been going for 7 or 8 years building this business now. That's like service accommodation, where it's very hard to find great managers, so it is far from hands-free. Rent to HMO, i.e. rent to rent, it's very hard to find enough profit in a rent to rent to pay a manager. So you are going to be self-managing for that until you've bought up the portfolio, or built up the portfolio, sorry. Whereas for a buy-to-let property, you can buy one buy-to-let, you get it managed, and it's very hands-free. So for me, it's not about knocking other strategies. I love them, but they are not passive income. They are an active business stream, an income stream that requires a lot of time and effort. Now, when we say hands-free for buy-to-let, that's strictly not hands-free either. You still need to understand your area, understand what makes a great investment, search for it, negotiate it, spend money on marketing, get the deal through legals, get a solicitor involved, get a finance or a mortgage broker involved, get a refurb team in, and get a lettings manager. But buy-to-let is as hands-free as property gets. But hey, that's just my opinion. You let me know. You don't have to agree. This channel is to discuss, to debate. Let me know what you think in the comments. And by the way, if you are wanting to build a buy-to-let portfolio, but maybe you don't have the time to put into sourcing, negotiating, legals, finance, refurb, and lettings, well, that's where Aspire Property Group, my company, comes in, where we take care of. So if you have got 50 to 100 grand that you're looking to invest right now, you can put APG in the comments, or I'll put a link in the description. And what we'll do is we'll put on a one-to-one free strategy session to help you understand how to build your portfolio through 2023. Let me know if you got value from this. As I said, I'm just sharing my opinion, and if you did, it helps me out a lot if you just tap the like button. It takes you 2 seconds, but really helps show others that this video is valuable for them. And of course, if you're new to the channel and you want to learn more, make sure to hit the subscribe and the notification bell, and I look forward to welcoming you to the next video.